So is this the start of a massive crash in the stock market, or is there something else happening through here? So I want to give you my little 2 cents, and hopefully this sort of helps you out and takes some of the confusion out of what's really going on right now. So let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video, because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty traders, let's get straight into it. I'm going to look at the Dow Jones, the SP500, and also the Nasdaq in today's video. And I want to look at it and I want to share some things with you in the perspective of what's going on right now, because there's so many people out there screaming crash. There's so many people out there screaming, game over and all this sort of stuff. Now, on a fundamental level, I don't see a massive crash coming. I just don't see it coming. The reason why I say that is because this is the only game in town apart from real estate. So this and real estate is really the only game in town for money to be stored. So therefore, the market is the governments and feds and powers that be, so to speak, have created the situation where people are now flocking to get some sort of return. So they're either getting into the market to get a return, or they're getting into the market just to try to get just a little bit of return out of it, or just to store the money there, because being in cash right now is probably not a good idea after inflation and so on and so forth. So when looking at that from that perspective, even if we did get pullbacks like we did back here in late September and October, even if you get these 10% corrections or 8 to 10% corrections, they ultimately lead to higher prices. So even if we did get a bit of a drop to the downside when it comes to Dow Jones, we're ultimately likely to see a scoop up. And I was talking to some of my private clients recently about this. And I was telling them that, the whole thing about the stock market is the stock market will... It freaks the people. It weeds the weak out, and it rewards the people that are emotionally strong and also patient. And so and I was talking about that, and I was saying that generally once a year the market does this. The market just loves to do this. When we get a little bit of a pullback out of the markets, the market generally loves to freak people out for a bit, and then suddenly like it might drop for a week or two. And then suddenly 2 months later, it's making all-time new highs again. It's like, what the hell happened here? And that's what the market does. It just loves to do that. So I don't believe we're at the top of the market yet. Interest rates are still very low. They're still pumping a lot of liquidity into the markets, and I think that's likely to happen. Now, I think I think this entire year is going to be an extraordinary bull market for the year. For the stock market. Maybe 2022, if they start to raise interest rates, it's going to start to cause a lot of pressure on a lot of things, or a lot of assets out there. But if I'm looking at this market here from an actual technical point of view, if I'm looking at this right now, then if we just keep this really, really simple, and we throw our fears and we throw our thoughts and we throw everything out the window, to me, I'm looking at the Dow Jones. If I'm looking at the Dow Jones, okay, what's really going on with the Dow Jones right now? If I'm looking at the Dow Jones, there's a few things that I'm seeing here. There's one big major thing that I can see here when it comes to what's going on. So if we have a look at the Dow Jones, we can see that we made this low. Okay, we had this rally up, and then a bit of a pullback, and then we made this higher, and we're making this, or it's actually no, forget that. It's not making a higher low yet. But we are still in an upward trend right now. And until that upward trend changes, the buyers are still in control. We're just getting a bit of a pullback in a bull market. So a lot of people will be freaking out because, we got this big down candle here and we got this big down candle here, and people are freaking out. All right. People are starting to get a bit worried that the top's in the stock market's in. It's okay. I don't believe we're in a bit of a bubble territory yet. Now, this could be proven wrong, but the big line in the sand for me when it comes to, the Dow Jones would be this point right here. This major point right here, which is around 30,000. 30,000 would be the line in the sand for me. If we do see a drop below 30,000, then we could start to see maybe a bit of a bear market happening. Maybe. But we want to see that we want to see that 30,000 broken first, just like we did back here with the whole cough situation. Let me bring this back here. As you can see with the whole cough situation, what happened? Ran up, pullback, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and then look what happened, broke. See how it broke that low, and then we started to see a free fall. So if we're likely to see another situation like we did last year, which is not going to happen, because last year was a panic, and things are starting to, the virus is starting to slowly unwind, and probably by the end of this year the virus is likely to be gone, and then something else is going to take its place that the news is going to talk about. So if we're looking at from that perspective, you can see how we don't need to worry just yet, because the market does pull back, and the market does this and freaks people out. And if you're watching the talking heads and the people out there and all that sort of stuff, and this is the crash and blah 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 and all this sort of stuff, it's like, no, is this the top of the stock? Is this the start of a massive crash or something else? And to me, it's something else. And to me, it's just another continuation of the bull market, like we've seen so many times. And so if we see this, we can see once again that this 0.3, I'm zooming right in now. You can see this is the big picture. And then if I go zoom right in, you can see that this 30,000 level is the level that you can never pick, the top, but the market can give you some warning signs of what's going on. If we go have a look at the S&P 500. Now guys, this is me reading the markets here. Okay, this is just me taking the confusion out and reading the markets. I'm an investor in the markets, meaning a long-term investor. And I'm also a trader of the markets, as I trade the markets. See, trading the markets for an income is a different skill than investing. Investing is you buy, hold, and hold for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. That's investing. Trading for an income is you're actively scanning the markets and actively looking for really high probability patterns that are likely to have a really good win-loss ratio. And that's how I trade the markets. Now, if you'd like to learn my trading system and how I trade the markets, then I'm running a free training today. Just go to Johns, Johns, freetraining.com, and on that free training I'm running, you'll be able to see all the details to my trading system that I use to actively produce the income for me and the win-loss ratio. I'm going to walk you through all the details there, so by the end of the training, you'll be able to see that. So go to johnsfreetraining.com, and I'll walk you through that. Plus, I'll also walk you through some other what I call like the 3 secrets that you must know as a trader. If you seriously are interested in making long-term success out of the markets. And also the one thing that I had to do to go from $250,000 in debt and losing a lot of money in the markets to then becoming a full-time trader. The one thing I had to learn, which actually changed everything for me. So again, go to johnsfreetraining.com and you'll be able to learn all the details to that. So if we're looking at the Dow Jones, just like the S&P looking at the S&P 500 right now, if I just take everything off the screen here for a minute, we can see that the line in the sand was what? Was right here. So we have to say 3,000, possibly this low right here would be the low for me. So 3,720 and 3,700 level, because this is the last significant low, right? So this will be the last significant low. And if I open my charts back up again in just a minute, just like we did back last year with the whole COP situation, guess what? The market will start to tell us when things are starting to turn around. So you can see here we had a low, a higher low, a higher low, and a higher low. But see how when the market actually broke it, that's when we started to see a really big down move. So if we're worried about what's going on right now, and we're starting to see this here, if there's any potential of a downward move, we would start to see something like this first, and then we'd rally up, give a lower high, and then we'd start to see a free fall. Again, just like we did back here with the whole COF situation. Firstly, we broke this low, made sort of higher low. We broke this low, ran up, made a lower high, and then we dropped. So that's what it probably, we'll start to see something like that happening around where the S&P 500 is right now. Now, looking at the tech stocks, if I bring up the tech stocks right now are right at that line in the sand, right at the line in the sand, which is really interesting. So do we continue down now? Now, if it does break through, it doesn't mean the sells are in control straight away. We need to see a lower high first. So this actually could just be a break down to the support level and start to see a move to the upside. So it's really interesting to see the tech stocks have come down to the 13,000 level, which has been, once again, the line in the sand for that. Now, for me personally, even if we do get a little bit of a flush down, I see this thing starting to make another nice move. I think we're getting very, very close to a turning point especially when it comes to these tech stocks. I think the tech stocks have a long way to go, and if we do continue to see a little bit more weakness in the markets, I think we're then starting to get into a bit of an oversold territory, and then I see we're likely to start to see at least a bit of a pickup through there. So these points through here, when we started to get the oversold level there and the oversold level there. Right now, what I'm seeing in the markets is at this point right here, we're getting to a point now where it's getting close to that oversold level again. So I'm expecting a bit of a bounce coming out of this soon in the markets. So there you go, guys. To take the confusion out of the market, once again, if we go back to the Dow Jones, bring it up very, very closely. The line in the sand is that if this is going to start to see an enormous crash from 30,000 down to 20,000, the very first warning bell would be a break below 30,000. Otherwise, this here is just another nice, healthy pullback before we start to see a nice move up. And this is what the market does, because this is how the markets work. Remember, we go for a run, we go for a pullback, we go for a run, we go sideways, we go for a run, we have a pullback, go for a run, we have a pullback, we go for a run. So remember, that's what the market does. And so in these points of movement on the downside, doesn't mean the trend has changed. Remember, the trend is from the highs and lows and not the bars itself. So, and once again, guys, if you'd like to learn how I trade, or if you'd like to learn my trading system and how I trade the markets, then I'm going to share all the details with you on my next free training. So if you go to johnsfreetraining.com, I'll share all the details with you there. I'll also share with you what I call the 3 secrets that you must know as a trader. And I'll also share with you the one thing that I had to learn to go from $250,000 in debt, losing a lot of money, to then becoming a full-time trader. What was that one thing that I learned from my mentor that totally changed everything? So if you're struggling right now in the trading, then you must be on this training. There should be a link in the description there, or just go to Johns, Johns, freetraining.com, and make sure you subscribe, like, guys, leave a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you guys real soon.